Welcome to your own personal deep dive.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, today we're hitting the California coast.
Nice.
Yeah, we're going to be exploring Monterey, Big Sur, and of course the Bixby Creek Bridge.
Ah, very cool.
Get ready for some epic cliffs, crashing waves,
I love it.
all that good stuff.
The Pacific.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A healthy dose of engineering ingenuity too.
Right.
I know you're interested in.
Yeah.
And this journey is going to uncover, I think, some really fascinating facts and some hidden gems along this legendary stretch of California.
Yeah, it's a magical place. What I think is so captivating about this is the way that nature and human ambition come together.
Yeah.
It's where you have these rugged cliffs and these meticulously crafted roads.
Right.
Untamed beauty of the Pacific Ocean and these huge engineering feats to bridge it all.
Okay, so first up, Monterey State Beach.
Classic.
Yeah. You've probably seen pictures of this place, right?
Great.
That classic crescent-shaped beach with golden sand stretching for miles. But here's something you might not know. This beach is actually super important in protecting the Monterey Bay ecosystem.
That's right. It acts as a natural buffer, the beach does.
Yeah.
So it absorbs wave energy and prevents erosion of the coastline,
Oh, wow.
which is pretty delicate. And then those sandy shores provide a really vital nesting habitat for shorebirds and other wildlife.
So it's not just a pretty place to sunbathe. It's
Right.
like a vital part of the local ecology.
Yeah.
And speaking of amazing ecosystems tucked right along the shore is the Monterey Bay Aquarium.
Yes.
Now, aquariums, I feel like they're pretty common,
Right.
but this one is special.
It is.
Right.
The Monterey Bay Aquarium is world-renowned for its dedication to marine research and conservation. It's more than just a collection of, fish tanks.
Yeah.
It's a center for scientific discovery and education.
So it's like a research facility as well as a place to visit.
Yeah, they do a ton of work there.
Okay, that's really cool. I've heard they have some pretty incredible exhibits.
Oh, yeah.
Are we talking giant tanks with sharks and stuff?
Oh, they have that.
Okay.
But even better than that, they have this massive kelp forest exhibit
Whoa.
that replicates the underwater world off the coast.
Wow.
You can walk through a tunnel
Mhm.
and see all sorts of creatures swimming above you, from sea otters to rockfish.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Okay, that's definitely going on the itinerary.
for sure.
Now let's say we're ready to kind of hit the road
Okay.
and explore further down the coast. Gotta experience that iconic drive down Highway 1.
Of course.
Right.
Yeah, Highway 1 is the thing to do
Yeah.
for anyone visiting the California coast.
Yeah.
But before we jump in the car,
Yeah.
it's worth knowing a little bit about the engineering behind this
Yes.
legendary road.
Yeah, it's not just a scenic drive. It's a masterpiece of construction carved into those steep cliffs.
Right.
What were some of the challenges they faced building something like that?
Well, for starters, the terrain itself was incredibly challenging. So imagine trying to blast and carve a road through these sheer rock faces
Yeah.
while contending with landslides
Right.
and the constant pounding of the Pacific.
Yeah. I can see how that would be a nightmare.
It's a lot.
How did they even manage to pull that off?
Well, it took decades of work
Oh, wow.
and the ingenuity of countless engineers and construction workers.
Wow.
They had to develop these innovative techniques for stabilizing the slopes,
All right.
building bridges over deep gorges, and ensuring that the road could withstand, those harsh coastal conditions.
Yeah, the salt in the wind and everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Wow, it's amazing to think about the sheer determination
Yeah.
it took to create something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're cruising down this engineering marvel,
Right.
soaking in the views, and we come across Point Lobos State Natural Reserve.
Yes.
I've heard this place is like a hidden gem. What
It's-
makes it so special?
Point Lobos is often called the crown jewel of the California State Park system,
Yeah.
and for good reason. It's a place where land and sea collide
Ooh.
in this really dramatic fashion,
Yeah.
creating a landscape of unparalleled beauty and ecological diversity.
So we're talking rugged cliffs, hidden coves,
Yes.
and those cypress forests I've seen in pictures.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
The Monterey cypress trees that cling to the cliffs there
Yeah.
are a unique species,
Really?
only found in a few small pockets along the California coast.
Oh, wow.
And they're incredibly hardy,
Yeah.
able to withstand the salt spray and the wind.
It's amazing how life finds a way to thrive
I know, it's amazing.
in such challenging environments.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing there's more to Point Lobos than just the views.
Oh, absolutely. The reserve is also home to a rich diversity of marine life.
Oh, cool.
The tide pools are teeming with sea stars, anemones, and other creatures.
Oh, wow.
You might even spot seals or sea otters
Oh, that's awesome.
playing in the kelp forest just offshore.
Sounds like a nature lover's paradise. Okay, now let's say we want to get away from the crowds a little bit
Okay.
and experience a more tranquil side of the coast. Where would we go for that?
If Point Lobos is like the bustling social butterfly of the coast,
Yeah.
then Garapata State Park
Okay,
is like its more introspective cousin.
I like that.
Yeah, it's just a short drive south of Point Lobos,
Right.
but offers a completely different experience.
Okay, so are we talking secluded beaches and quiet trails through the woods?
You got it. Garapata is known for its serene beaches where you might just have the entire stretch of sand to yourself.
Wow.
And inland, you can wander through forests of redwood and oak, following trails that lead to hidden waterfalls and breathtaking vistas.
That sounds like the perfect place to just like disconnect and reconnect with nature.
Totally.
So we've explored the beaches, wandered through the forest,
Yeah.
and now we're continuing south on Highway 1.
Okay.
What's next on our coastal adventure?
Well, as we head south, the landscape becomes even more dramatic.
Yeah.
Those rolling hills give way to towering redwood forests
Oh, wow.
that cling to the steep slopes. And just when you think you can't get any more awe-inspiring, you round a bend, and there it is,
What?
the Bixby Creek Bridge.
Oh, the Bixby Creek Bridge. It's one of those places that you see it in pictures and you're like, okay, that's got to be photoshopped.
Right.
But it's real.
It's real.
And it's even more impressive in person.
It really is. That graceful concrete arch, spanning over 300 feet, soaring 260 feet above the creek bed, it's just a testament to human ingenuity
Yeah.
and a symbol of California's pioneering spirit. But the bridge isn't just about aesthetics. It has this fascinating history that tells a story of ambition, innovation, and like the challenges of connecting a rugged coastline.
Okay, I'm hooked. Tell me more about the story behind this iconic bridge.
Well, before the bridge was built, the journey along this section of the coast was treacherous, to say the least.
I bet.
Travelers had to navigate narrow, winding roads that were often impassable during the rainy season.
Oh, gosh.
It could take days to complete a journey that today takes just a few hours.
I can't imagine trying to make that trip in a horse-drawn carriage,
Right.
let alone an early automobile. It must have been quite an adventure.
It was. And as California's population grew and tourism started booming,
Yeah.
the need for a more reliable route became increasingly apparent.
Of course.
And that's when the dream of Highway 1, a scenic roadway that would hug the California coastline,
Yeah.
began to take shape.
That's quite a vision. But I imagine building a road along those rugged cliffs presented some major obstacles.
You're telling me? And the biggest obstacle of all was Bixby Creek Canyon. That deep gorge, carved by centuries of erosion,
Yeah.
seemed almost impossible to cross.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But the engineers of the early 20th century were not easily deterred.
Of course not. So how did they do it? How did they bridge that seemingly impassable gap?
That's where the story gets really interesting. They envisioned a bridge, unlike anything that had been built before on the California coast.
Oh, wow.
It wouldn't be just a functional crossing.
Right.
It would be a symbol of human ambition and a testament to the power of engineering.
So they weren't just thinking about practicality, they wanted to make a statement with this bridge.
Exactly.
Wow.
And the design they came up with was audacious.
Okay.
Instead of like a series of shorter spans or a suspension bridge, they envisioned this single, graceful arch of concrete,
Wow.
soaring over 300 feet and reaching a height of 260 feet above the creek bed.
I'm trying to picture that in my mind, and it's honestly a little hard to wrap my head around.
Yeah.
We're talking about a concrete structure built back in the 1930s, spanning this massive gorge, and reaching heights that would make even like a seasoned rock climber nervous.
It was a bold concept, to say the least.
Yeah.
And the construction itself was just an epic feat of engineering and human determination.
Yeah,
They had to develop innovative methods for pouring concrete at such heights,
right.
using these complex scaffolding systems and a technique called slip-form construction,
Okay.
where the concrete forms were slowly raised as the bridge was built.
Oh, wow, that sounds incredibly complex. I'm guessing this wasn't a quick project.
It took over a year of intense work,
Oh, wow.
with hundreds of workers laboring day and night, often in really challenging conditions.
Yeah,
And remember, this was long before modern construction equipment.
right.
So a lot of the work was done by hand, using sheer muscle and ingenuity.
It's mind-boggling to think about the amount of effort and coordination that went into building something like that. It's a testament to the skill and dedication of those workers and engineers.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And when the Bixby Creek Bridge finally opened in 1932, it wasn't just a connection between two points.
Right.
It was a symbol of progress, connecting communities, opening up the Big Sur coast to the world, and igniting the imaginations of countless travelers.
It's incredible how a single bridge can have such a profound impact, not just on transportation,
Right.
but on the economy, tourism, even the cultural landscape of a region.
It's true.
Yeah.
And the Bixby Creek Bridge quickly became an iconic landmark, inspiring countless photographs, paintings, even movie appearances. It's a structure that seems to capture the essence of the California coast, the rugged beauty, the sense of adventure, and the spirit of human ingenuity.
Okay, so we've talked about the engineering marvel of the Bixby Creek Bridge, its historical significance, its
Right.
impact on the region.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, what about the bridge itself?
Yeah.
What's it like to actually drive across it?
Driving across the Bixby Creek Bridge is an experience unlike any other.
I bet.
As you approach the bridge, the road kind of curves gently, giving you these glimpses of the structure through the trees.
Okay.
And then suddenly you're soaring over the canyon with just breathtaking views of the coastline stretching out in both directions.
I bet the view from up there is incredible, especially with the Pacific Ocean as a backdrop.
It's truly awe-inspiring.
Yeah.
The bridge itself is surprisingly narrow, with just 2 lanes and a pedestrian walkway on one side.
Okay.
And because it's a concrete arch bridge, there are no supporting columns below.
Right.
So you have this completely unobstructed view of the canyon and the creek far below.
Wow. I can imagine that feeling of being suspended in midair with nothing but the sky and the ocean around you. It must be a little nerve-wracking for anyone who's afraid of heights.
It can be,
Yeah.
but the bridge is incredibly sturdy and well maintained.
Okay.
And the views are so captivating that you quickly forget any fears.
Yeah.
It's a moment of pure exhilaration, a feeling of freedom and connection with the landscape.
It sounds like a truly unforgettable experience.
Yeah.
But I'm also thinking about the environmental impact of something like this. I mean, building a bridge of that scale in such a sensitive environment must have come with some challenges.
You're right.
Yeah.
The construction of Highway 1 and the Bixby Creek Bridge, while transformative for the region,
Right.
also had an impact on the surrounding environment.
Yeah.
The road cut through pristine wilderness areas, and the influx of tourists and development that followed put pressure on the delicate ecosystems of the Big Sur coast.
That's a crucial point. Progress and preservation don't always go hand in hand.
Exactly. And it's a reminder that we have a responsibility to find a balance between our desire to experience these natural wonders and the need to protect them for future generations.
Yeah.
It's an ongoing conversation, and one that's particularly relevant in places like Big Sur,
Right.
where the beauty of the landscape is both its greatest asset and its greatest vulnerability.
So how do we strike that balance? What are some of the ways we can ensure that places like Big Sur remain accessible while minimizing our impact on the environment?
That's a complex question with no easy answers.
Yeah.
But there are steps we can take,
Okay.
both individually and collectively.
Right.
Supporting organizations that are dedicated to preserving the Big Sur coast, advocating for responsible land management policies, and making conscious choices about how we travel and interact with the environment are all important.
It's a reminder that our actions, even seemingly small ones, can have a ripple effect on the places we visit.
For sure.
And speaking of the environment, we've talked about the rugged cliffs, the crashing waves, the engineering marvels of this coastline. But there's another element that's just as captivating and crucial to the ecosystem: the towering redwood forests.
The redwoods.
Yes.
They are truly the guardians of this coastline, ancient giants that have witnessed centuries of change
Yeah.
and play a vital role in the health of the entire region.
I've always been fascinated by redwoods. There's something so majestic and almost mystical about them.
Yeah.
What is it about these trees that makes them so special?
Well, for starters, their sheer size is awe-inspiring.
Yeah.
Some of these trees can grow over 300 feet tall, taller than the Statue of Liberty.
Wow.
And their massive trunks can reach diameters of over 20 feet.
That's huge.
They're among the largest living organisms on Earth,
Yeah.
and they can live for thousands of years.
Thousands of years.
Yeah.
That's mind-boggling. I can't even imagine what it would be like to stand in the presence of a tree that's been alive for that long.
Right.
It's like stepping back in time.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's not just their size and longevity that make them remarkable. Redwoods have this unique set of adaptations that allow them to thrive in this coastal environment.
Oh, interesting.
Their thick bark, rich in tannins, makes them resistant to fire and insects.
Oh, wow.
And they have this remarkable ability to regenerate from sprouts,
Really?
meaning that even if a tree is damaged or felled, it can often regrow from its base.
It sounds like they have some serious survival skills.
They do.
Yeah.
and they play a crucial role in the ecosystem.
Right.
Their massive canopies create this unique microclimate moderating temperatures and providing habitat for a wide range of plants and animals.
Okay.
They also help to regulate water cycles and prevent erosion.
Oh, wow.
In a sense, they are the anchors of this coastal forest ecosystem.
It's incredible to think about how interconnected everything is, how the fate of these giant trees is intertwined with the health of the entire coastline.
Right.
But I'm also aware that redwoods have faced their share of challenges, especially from logging in the past.
Yes.
What's the current state of these forests?
That's a great question, and it leads us to another important part of this story, the history of conservation and the ongoing efforts to protect these ancient giants.
So we've got these ancient giants crucial to the ecosystem,
Right.
but they've been targeted by logging in the past.
Yes.
What's the situation now?
The story of redwood conservation is a complex one,
Yeah.
marked by both triumphs and ongoing challenges.
Okay.
During the 19th and early 20th centuries, redwood forests were heavily logged,
Right.
with many old-growth trees felled to supply the booming timber industry.
Yeah.
It was a time when these trees were seen primarily as a resource to be exploited,
Right.
and vast swaths of forest were cleared at an alarming rate.
It's hard to imagine the scale of that logging, especially knowing how long it takes these trees to grow. It must have been devastating to see those ancient forests disappear.
It was, but thankfully a conservation movement began to emerge,
Okay.
fueled by a growing awareness of the ecological importance of these forests
Right.
and the irreplaceable value of old-growth trees.
Yeah.
People began to realize that redwoods weren't just timber. They were living ecosystems, home to countless species, and vital to the health of the planet.
So how did that conservation movement gain traction? What were some of the key moments that led to the protection of these forests?
Well, there were a number of individuals and organizations that played crucial roles.
Yeah.
People who dedicated their lives to advocating for the redwoods
Right.
and raising awareness about the need for conservation.
Yeah.
One key moment was the establishment of Muir Woods National Monument in 1908,
Okay.
thanks in large part to the efforts of conservationist John Muir, who famously described redwoods as nature's temples.
Oh, wow.
This was one of the first steps towards protecting these trees on a national level.
It's amazing how the passion and dedication of a few individuals can spark a movement that ultimately leads to lasting change. And I'm guessing that the creation of national parks and monuments was just the beginning?
It was. Over the following decades, more and more redwood forests were set aside for protection, culminating in the establishment of redwood national and state parks in 1968,
Wow.
and the expansion of those parks in 1978.
Okay.
These parks, along with other protected areas along the California coast, now safeguard a significant portion of the remaining old-growth redwood forests.
That's encouraging to hear. It sounds like we've come a long way in terms of recognizing the importance of protecting these trees. But I'm also wondering about the challenges that remain. Are there still threats to redwood forests even within protected areas?
There are.
Okay, like what?
Climate change is a major concern, as rising temperatures and changes in precipitation patterns could impact the delicate balance of the redwood ecosystem.
Right.
Droughts can stress these trees, making them more susceptible to diseases and pests.
Oh, wow.
And sea level rise poses a threat to the coastal redwood forests,
Right.
as saltwater intrusion can damage their shallow root systems.
So even in protected areas, these trees aren't entirely safe from the impacts of climate change.
Yeah, unfortunately not.
What about other threats like development or logging? Are those still concerns?
Thankfully, logging is no longer permitted in most protected redwood forests.
Okay, that's good.
But development pressures can still pose a threat,
Right.
particularly in areas adjacent to park boundaries.
Yeah.
Habitat fragmentation pollution from nearby urban areas, and the introduction of invasive species are all ongoing challenges that conservationists are working to address.
It sounds like protecting these ancient forests is an ongoing effort, a constant balancing act between preserving the natural world and managing human impacts.
It is. Spreading awareness about the importance of these ecosystems are all crucial steps.
Okay.
And when you visit these parks, be mindful of your impact. Stay on designated trails, pack out your trash, and respect the delicate balance of the forest.
It's a good reminder that even small actions can make a difference when it comes to protecting the natural world. Well, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, from the vibrant marine life of Monterey Bay to the engineering marvel of the Bixby Creek Bridge and the ancient wisdom of the redwoods.
That's right, we've been all over the place.
It's been quite a journey, and I feel like I've gained a whole new appreciation for this incredible stretch of coastline.
Me too. It's a place that truly embodies the beauty, resilience, and interconnectedness of the natural world. And it's a reminder that we have a